Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Market House, a podcast where we talk all things Disney. My name is Caleb and I'm your host for the show. And folks, if you have not seen the Muppets Haunted Mansion special, stop what you're doing and go watch it. It was so enjoyable, it was so fun, and just good old family-friendly comedy. And again, if you don't love the Muppets, there's something wrong with you. You don't have a soul, you don't have a heart. I'm just kidding, but I love the Muppets. They're so much fun because, I don't know, they just are. Okay, Kermit's hilarious, Gonzo, the whole bunch of them, and Pepe the King Prawn is our personal favorite. So again, if you like those characters, if you like the Muppets, definitely put that on Disney Plus. If you are subscribed, if you're not, just do it. Get the free trial if they have one, and watch the special. It's a really fun time. It's just fun to see that Disney is treating kind of the Haunted Mansion and Disney rides and giving them specials like that. I hope they continue that trend, and maybe we get a Christmas one or another ride-based special because they're just a lot of fun, and again, we loved it. So watch that if you haven't already. And yeah, this episode is going to be a little different. I think we're just going to cover the top news items for the past week because we are preparing for our Disneyland trip. We actually leave in a couple days, and to prep for these things, it takes a little bit of time. So definitely not complaining, but just maybe we're not going to have a main segment this time. We're just going to focus on some news, and I definitely wanted to get something out this week. Didn't want to leave you hanging, but it is just going to be news. We're going to cover the top stories, and then we'll wrap it up. It'll be a nice short episode this week, and then we should be back to normal the following week with a nice trip report from our October Halloween trip. So stay tuned for that, but let's go ahead and just dive right into the news. The first item we have today is an announcement from Disney themselves. It looks like the new Genie Plus service, which is set to release October 19th for Disney World. And again, no word on when it will open up for Disneyland, but it looks like this new program, which again is like it's like the new version of Fast Pass. It looks like it's not going to sell out for any given day, is what they said. So there's not going to be a limit on the number of guests allowed to purchase the service. So this means it is just full on open, willy-nilly. Doesn't matter how many people are in the park buying the service, they're not going to limit it, which is super surprising to me since, again, the selling point of the service is reduced lines, right? Reduce waiting for attractions. And I'm not sure how they can promise that. Again, I know it'll be quicker than standby, but let's say you go, again, on a slow Wednesday and you purchase a service. Let's say you wait 10 minutes for Space Mountain, and you purchase a service on a way busier Sunday in the Christmas season. Will you then wait 35, 40 minutes for Space Mountain? I know relative to the standby line, this will be shorter. Let's say the standby is probably going to be 90 minutes, right, during that time. But again, it's super interesting to me that they're not going to limit it because they can promise that, hey, you're going to wait on average, let's say 50% less. So it seems like it's going to be hard to control wait times when anyone can purchase it and there's not going to be a limit. So surprising to say the least, but I guess good news for some folks. I mean, again, it's not going to sell out, so it's not like there's a pressure to purchase it in the morning or whatever. I don't know. Maybe you can kind of test. Yeah, no pressure to get it because you can just go to the park, kind of feel out the wait times, and if by 11:30 you're like, I really don't need it, I guess you can opt out and not purchase it. So I guess there's some pros and cons of both, limiting and not limiting it. But yeah, it's an interesting factoid. So thought I'd share that. So no limits on the new Genie Plus service. Okay, next up we have some kind of sad news, but Ruthie Thompson, who was a Disney legend actually, passed away at the age of 111, which is pretty dang impressive to start with. Lived a nice long life. But yeah, she had a pretty impressive resume at the Disney company. She worked there for nearly 40 years. She was a painter in the ink and paint department, and she put looks like she put the finishing touches on Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which, if you don't already know, was the first full-length animated feature ever, and of course was a Disney movie. So she was involved in the first one, and then went on to work on Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, Sleeping Beauty, Mary Poppins, The Aristocats, Robin Hood. So impressive career in life, and again, she lived a very long life. So, kudos to her. And some pretty big news when a Disney legend passes away. So really cool to see what kind of impact she had on the company. And again, I think what would be awesome is if Disney Plus used this opportunity to make, maybe features on some of these Disney legends. And, I know there was an Imagineering documentary, which is amazing if you haven't seen that already, but it would be awesome to see them focus on Disney legends present and past in a feature on Disney Plus. They have the resources and now the outlet to do that, and that'd be awesome to see these kinds of folks highlighted in a documentary. So just a suggestion if anyone's listening that owns a production company and wants to sell it to Disney. So let's go ahead and move on to the next story. Next up, we have some big news from Disney themselves. Looks like Alan Horn, who served as the chief creative officer, is stepping down at the end of the year. He was a very successful media executive for many years, coming over to Disney when Mr. Bob Iger, former CEO, current executive chairman, hired him. And actually, he, in his autobiography, says that Alan Horn was his best hire he's ever made. So high praise from Mr. Iger. But Alan had a very successful career here. I mean, you can look at what kind of creative content has been born out of Disney for the past decade or so. You can look at all the Star Wars films. You can look at the Marvel films. You can look at, any kind of he's involved in every little detail, every single thing that comes out. I'm sure any kind of content that comes out has come by his desk. So again, a very impressive career, and kind of sad to see very big, successful creatives leave the company. But again, seems like he's retiring. It's not like it's a bad exit. It looks like he just wants to, stop working. So that's fine by me. And we will see if Disney decides to replace him eventually. It looks like another executive's just kind of taking over his role. But I wouldn't expect any kind of seismic changes in content with his exit. But again, some interesting news coming out of the company. So thought I'd share. Our final news story is related to Disney Plus and their potential domination of the streaming market. According to a research firm, it looks like, again, they're predicting that Disney Plus will overtake Netflix in subscriber count by the year 2026. So they are predicting that Disney will reach 284 million subscribers by that year, 2026, and that Netflix will have 270 million. So beating them out by 14 million subscribers is what they're predicting. Again, I don't think they can read or tell the future or read the future. If they could, great for them. But again, a prediction, which is, again, insane because Netflix has been the king of streaming for how long now? I mean, they've been at the top for a very long time. So the fact that Disney Plus, a fairly recent, addition to the Disney company, a fairly recent entry into streaming in general, is going to overtake them by 26, is what this firm is predicting. So again, if you don't already own Disney stock, maybe it's a good time to buy. I don't know, because it may pay off. So save your pennies, buy a couple, and ride this wave. But pretty impressive. Again, if you're a business nerd like I am, you can go around and flaunt this new little factoid or prediction. And if it comes true, it comes true. Great for Disney. But again, no stranger to success in the content realm. Just look at their box office domination that they've enjoyed for the last decade. It seems they have like 3 or 4 films that hit $1 billion in box office revenue every single year. So, of course, when they enter the streaming market, it's bound to be successful. So, good for Disney. Another thing they're doing very well in. But again, Yeah, I think that's actually going to do it, folks. That is all the news I have. Again, I apologize for kind of the shortened episode this week, but again, we are heading off to Disney, so I will have plenty of things to talk to you about in the coming weeks with our recent trip and how that went. We're really looking forward to, seeing the completely finished Halloween decorations, because the last time we went, they weren't completely done yet. They were like 90% of the way there, but yeah, really excited to see everything finished and done up for Halloween. Going with family and friends this time, so we're gonna have a big group. I think we can actually fill up a Splash Mountain log, so that's gonna be fun. I'm guessing for some good pictures, and yeah, we're looking forward to it. So again, stay tuned. We'll have some trip report stuff coming up, and we'll talk all the good things: food, attractions, wait times, shows, the whole thing. So again, thank you so much for listening. Follow us on Instagram at Market House Podcast. We'll definitely be posting pictures here the next week or two with all the recent pictures of our recent trip and all that good stuff. So again, thanks so much for listening. We will see you next week.